our lifestyles in terms of the Western diet, in terms of the Western lifestyle, is about as far away from being natural as we can possibly get. Most people in the Western world are overweight, why most people have brain fog, why most people just don't have the energy that they once thought they had. Marketing has changed for people to be attracted to junk food, getting people addicted to junk food, and then getting people addicted to the medications to sort them out from eating too much junk food is just a business model in itself. The junk food providers fill our supermarkets with what they call food, which clearly isn't, because it's loaded with sugar, it's loaded with garbage to put up their profit, and who really cares about the end consumer as long as you buy it and eat it and come back for some more. And if you do it for a week, mark my words, you will see a drastic difference. You will start to become healthy, you will start to see some of those ailments reverse, and you will start to see a much healthier you, and that brain fog and that level of ability that you used to have will come back. So how do you do it? What's the way? What's the method? Well, the first method is...
Welcome to the John McLauchlan podcast.
This is the John McLauchlan podcast. I'm John McLauchlan, and in this episode we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Usually in the podcast we talk about affiliate marketing, or we talk about business, online marketing, being an online business owner. But one of the fundamental things about being a successful business owner is being fit and healthy. Now, this isn't going to be a podcast about how to eat the right foods or have a special diet that I've just found out. Nothing to do with that, because I appreciate that everybody is different. But in order to maximize what we do and get the most out of what the energy that we've got, we need to be operating right physically and also psychologically, and that all comes down to being healthy and being fit. And let me tell you, I know this from first-hand experience, from sitting too long in my office a couple of years ago, eating the wrong foods, and also getting a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in your lung, which can be pretty serious if you don't treat it. And really, when these things happen, it really sort of brings it home about how important health really is, particularly when you're an online, or when you're a business owner per se. Any business owner, if you lose your ability to work, or if you don't have a process or a system in place, then you're pretty much done. Okay, in terms of being self-employed, I'm also outside today as well, so typically motorbikes, aeroplanes, helicopters fly over as soon as I start recording. So what we're going to talk about here isn't anything to do with a particular regime. What I'm going to talk about is fundamental principles about how you can improve your overall body to optimize it in the right way. And the majority of the reasons why most people in the Western world are overweight, why most people have brain fog, why most people just don't have the energy that they once thought they had a few years ago. Let me know if you can kind of resonate with this. What I want to talk about here is this. Our lifestyles in terms of the Western diet, in terms of the Western lifestyle, is about as far away from being natural as we can possibly get. Or let me just say, the majority of people eat rubbish food, their lifestyles are stressed, and we compensate or try and mitigate that by trying to take us away from that environment. And sometimes that can be through the misuse of food or drugs or alcohol or whatever. Okay, let me tell you where we're going to start with this. It all comes down to our blood acidity. Now, in the way that we operate, the blood runs either acid or alkaline or somewhere in the middle. In terms of the acid-alkaline balance, number 7 is a good balance. If we operate slightly alkaline, that's when we can start to optimize our health and our fitness and our psychological ability to go out there and crush it, if you like. The reason why this is so important is because when our blood gets more acidic, our body then compensates, okay? And the way that our blood gets acidic is down to, number 1, stress, number 2, alcohol, number 3, eating garbage food. Okay, so we can probably all resonate with that at some point. But when the blood gets too acidic, what happens is the body then compensates. So you go to the gym, you lift weights, your body gets bigger because your body is compensating. When your blood gets acidic, it compensates because that's what it has to do. And what it says is, okay, the blood is getting acidic. Let's coat the veins, let's coat the arteries with a substance to protect it, because if we don't, it may well burn through and then we can end up with internal bleeding. So it coats it with a substance called cholesterol. Okay, we all know what cholesterol is, and if you do some proper research, you'll know that cholesterol isn't the main killer. Okay, it's the lifestyle that we lead and the stress that we have because our blood acidity is too strong. Okay, so the body coats it with cholesterol.
As an online business owner, you're going to want to get access to some of the best information you can find, and that's why I put together the Online Business Roadmap. It's all about setting up your online business in the right way to get everything set up and completed in a weekend. In Module 1, getting off to a fast start. In Module 2, we talk about the 3 essential elements to get into profits quickly. So Module 3 is one of the big takeaways with this course. We have our residential behavioural scientist, Jules Reed, and she talks about most of the common things that people struggle with. Imposter syndrome, about yes, you do have things to share as a beginner, procrastination, staying focused and achieving success as a new or an existing online business owner. Go to the link below, click it, and you can get access to this course for absolutely free. In addition to that as well, you'll also get access to all the free courses within McLauchlan Academy. These are not free courses in disguise. You will get a ton of value from these courses. So go to the link below, follow the instructions, and I'll see you in the inside. Back to the show.
You probably all know that the guy or the woman that was fit and healthy and always went out running. They were always at the top of their game, and one day they dropped down dead with a heart attack. And you think, is it just one of those things? Maybe it runs in the family. And we come out with all these kind of reasons as to why it could have happened. The main reason is because the blood is too acidic. The body is full of cholesterol in the wrong places, in the arteries and the veins, and that causes problems. Okay. Now, the biggest cause of acidity in the blood is stress. Number one, how many people feel stressed? How many people do you feel it in your gut when something happens and you get those horrible pangs of stress? And it takes a number of days to get rid of it. Now, the way to get rid of stress is either the body's natural reaction is to shake. Okay, you look at animals in the wild, they shake, and that's their way of getting rid of stress. So if you see a gazelle getting chased by a lion in the wild, okay, it gets chased for 2 or 3 minutes. If it's lucky, it escapes, it shakes a little bit, and then 2 minutes later it's back eating grass. And you go, well, how does that happen? Okay, if you're a human being, you need counselling for 6 months. Okay, it's because they've got those resources available, and we don't tap into those resources. We don't do it. We just let our stress build up, and when that stress then builds up, and we have too much cortisol and too many stress hormones, that's when the blood turns acidic, and that's when that can lead to additional diseases and problems within the body if we don't get rid of them. Okay, so how do you get rid of stress? Okay, diet number one, exercise, massages, and also talking about the situation. So in the terms of when I was a police officer and something used to happen that was really bad, we used to come in and have a debrief. And that was, the debrief was not just for gaining evidence, but also to make sure we were okay as a welfare check. Okay, so we talked it through. And when you went home, how was your day? Well, it was all right, bearing in mind what just happened. So that's really important to get rid of stress. Number two, let's talk about diet. The way that most people eat, I won't say most people, but let me take it from a different angle. The way that a lot of marketing has changed for people to be attracted to junk food, getting people addicted to junk food, and then getting people addicted to the medications to sort them out from eating too much junk food is just a business model in itself. And I'm going to say that straight because I think most people will appreciate that the junk food providers, the food producers fill our supermarkets with what they call food, which clearly isn't, because it's loaded with sugar, it's loaded with garbage to put up their profits, and who really cares about the end consumer as long as you buy it and eat it and come back for some more. Okay, take breakfast cereals as a prime example. So we're constantly doing that every single day. And we start our day sometimes with breakfast cereals loaded with sugar, spikes the insulin levels. The body has to compensate. It gets stressed. It produces more acid. We then start that chain reaction again, okay? Even things like having your Sunday roast, your meat, your potatoes, your gravy, you're going to put some salt in there, probably going to be a processed salt. It's going to add to that acidity building up. And just our general lifestyle. The Western lifestyle is not geared towards being fit and healthy unless you take responsibility and unless you go out and do something about it. And the other thing about stress and the other thing about what I've just said is that the stress hormones that are produced over a long period of time, if they don't get taken away in the ways that I've just suggested, they'll get stored in the body and they get stored in the fat cells. So if you're somebody who is struggling to lose a bit of weight and you're doing all the right things, you're doing the exercise, you think you're eating the right way, but you've got too much stress and you can't shift the fat, it's because you've got too much stress. And if you are able to take measures to reduce that stress, eliminate that stress, and then begin to alkalize your body, which is the mitigating factor against acid, then you will start to become healthy. You will start to see some of those ailments reverse, and you will start to see a much healthier you, and that brain fog and that level of ability that you used to have will come back. So how do you do it? What's the way? What's the method? Well, the first method is really making the decision to do it, okay? And you might say, okay, I'm sick and tired of this. Let's go and do it. And there's a lot of people in that situation who they just don't quite have the right motivation because they go, well, okay, well, I want to get really fit and healthy, but can I still sit in front of a telly and eat crisps? Can I still eat chips? And it's like, no. Okay, get serious about your health, okay, because you've only got one body, and have a want to go and do it. Now, the way that you do it is you eat foods that when they get metabolized in the body, they turn into an alkaline. So let me tell you, for example, something like a lemon, it looks acidic, it tastes acidic, but when it's metabolized in the body, it turns alkaline. This is why lemons are really good for you, okay? So the other thing is greens. Green drinks, green vegetables, green fruits, anything that is green is going to have an alkalizing effect. So broccoli, cabbage, all these things, eat them. And what I would say to you is if you set yourself out to say, let's do it for a week of drinking water, a week of drinking green drinks, things like wheatgrass, things like the Live Good Super Greens, they really are well balanced to have a detoxing effect and an alkalizing effect on your body. And if you do it for a week, mark my words, you will see a drastic difference if you actually do it. And this is the key. Most people are not prepared to do it. Okay, I talk about fasting all the time. When I first did a fast, I did a 2-week fast. Most people do 48 hours. I did like a 2-week fast. And everybody I spoke to said, what are you doing? You're clearly looking really good and you're losing weight. And I was training hard at the time. And I said, I'm doing a fast. I'm doing a 2-week fast. And everybody I spoke to said, I couldn't do that. No chance. I couldn't do that. But if you're faced with a health issue, then you are. Okay. So green drinks, green fruit and vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, all those kinds of things to prepare them. So you want to forget about meat for the time being. If you're going to detoxify and alkalize, you ought to be eating things like wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is really good. And I'll tell you one thing about wheatgrass. When I first started taking wheatgrass, I first learned about this detoxifying and alkalizing effect. I made up my wheatgrass and it tasted like fish. It was horrendous. And what happened was, and this is because my body was really acidic. So if you continue to detoxify and your body continues to alkalize, then what happens is that wheatgrass becomes actually quite pleasant tasting. Your palate changes and it becomes quite sweet and quite nutty and you quite enjoy the experience. what I was really surprised about with the Super Greens from Live Good was the fact that it was actually quite sweet. It had quite an orangey flavour because it's blended, but it was really well blended, and it contains wheatgrass as well. So I definitely recommend that. But the more acidic you are, and the longer you've gone through the process of abusing yourself with stress and with bad foods and lifestyle, then the more of a shock it's going to be. But what I'm going to tell you is this: if you're looking to lose weight, then detoxifying yourself and alkalizing yourself will help you to lose that weight. It'll shift that weight. And what it does, it just sort of shifts your whole body back into a natural rhythm, back into more of what we should be doing to protect ourselves and what we should be doing to look after ourselves, instead of the constant abuse that we give it. And I'll be honest, we do abuse our bodies every single day with stress, and just the lifestyle that we have in the West. So there we go. So do that. Go for the whole green thing. Drink water. Don't drink coffee. Don't drink tea. Get rid of as many toxins as possible, and you'll see a dramatic difference. Now, there's one other thing that I'm going to add to this, and I could probably do this in a separate podcast, but I'm going to talk about sugar. And if you can get rid of as much sugar from your diet, either added sugar or non-added sugar that you don't know about, then that will have a dramatic difference as well. What I would say is do the detoxification and the alkalizing first, then remove sugar, and remove sugar, I would say, permanently from your diet. Now, when I had my PE, I decided to go on the carnivore diet. I'm not recommending any particular diet, but what I'm saying is that regardless of who you are, regardless of your body shape or anything that you've been used to in the past, if you remove sugar from your diet, everybody will see a dramatic difference and a change in your overall performance and lifestyle, or your overall performance. And things like bread. I mean, I used to have about 16 rounds of bread every single day with butter on it, with something I call Marmite, which is I just used to love. But I was training really intensely, and yet I was still carrying a lot of weight, and it was a challenge. Let me tell you, it's a challenge coming off sugar, because it's highly, highly addictive, and it's in everything. You go to the supermarket and you buy chicken, you buy a box of cooked chicken, it's full of sugar because it adds to the weight, therefore it adds to the value. Okay, for the producer of that meat, it's no good for the end user. But why do that? Why not just go out, buy fresh chicken and fry it? And what I'll say as well is that all the things that your grandma used to cook with, like butter, like ghee, like lard, they're all good. Okay, they've all been demonized by these food manufacturers to make us to buy their soy stuff and their blended oils that just really don't belong in the human body. So go natural, okay, after you've done your detoxification, and stay away from sugar. One of the worst things that you can have in a morning is breakfast cereals. I thought I was doing well with my bowl of Alpen and All Bran in the morning, and then you realise that it's full of sugar. And what happens now is, because I've been off the sugar I've reduced my sugar. I reduced my sugar completely to about zero for about a year, and then every now and again I'll try like a pudding or something like that, and it doesn't agree with me. I get stomach gripes, and then I've got to go and have a visit for a little while, and it's not good. And it just shows you, once your body becomes fat dependent rather than sugar dependent, the 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 bad effects that sugar has on the body in terms of inflammation, and we know that inflammation is a cause of many things. How many people now have got diabetes, and it's all down to just that lack of education, because we've all been geared and steered towards buying the products that the manufacturers and the lobbied companies want to sell us. So that is going to make a dramatic difference. So think about your blood sugar, your blood acidity. So you want your blood acid or your blood levels to be slightly alkaline, and you can do that by getting rid of all the foods, having a detox and an alkalization of your body with green foods, water. Do it for a week. And what I would say is stick with it. Stick with it. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to go onto a detox. You're going to follow the advice, and you're going to start craving sugar probably within the first few hours. Craving sugar is the worst thing. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. Even now I've been off the sugar for 18 months, I still have cravings. And what happens is I open the cupboards and open the fridge far too often. I really should, looking for that sugar rush. And even though you can have eggs, you can have steak, you can have all the really good foods, your body still wants that sugar hit because the brain is addicted to it. Okay. The other thing I'm going to mention before we go is about cholesterol. Now, you'll hear people in certain circles talking about an excessive consumption of cholesterol, particularly in eggs and particularly in other kind of foods. Let's stick with eggs. Now, eggs is probably the best all-round protein and amino acid nutrition that you can take. And I'm proof of that because, when I got onto the carnivore diet, I actually started eating about 10 eggs a day or thereabouts. Still do eat 10 eggs a day. And I actually lost weight. Okay. I actually lost weight. A lot of people who do that lose weight as well. Okay. So it's so important to really understand your body, understand what's going on, and understand that a lot of the things, the majority of the things that you hear and listen, and a lot of the marketing that we're exposed to is designed to keep you overweight. It's designed to keep you on the back foot, and it's designed to keep you medicated. And that's just an unfortunate fact of the world that we live in. But with the right education and with the right approach, you can change everything. So if you're suffering right now, take some advice from this podcast. Reach out to me in any way that you want to. I'm more than happy to answer your questions and to give you some advice about how you can really sort of make your life better by having the right education and by having the right nutrition and the right approach. So I'm John McLauchlan. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I know there's a lot of information. We're going to be putting the blog together on johnmclauchlan.com, and we're also going to be distributing this podcast on all the major podcast networks. So wherever you get your podcast, you can find it up there. I'm John McLauchlan. We will talk soon. Bye for now.
To hear all the John McLauchlan podcasts, please visit johnmclauchlan.com. JOHNMCLAUCHLAN.com.